Yep. So it may not be anything, but boy, there's some nasty looking dark clouds coming. I gotta go look at this for a moment, James, before it starts falling on us. We have an airspace class under the carport, but storms are inbound and getting big, and I believe when this passes, we're gonna have a window for training opportunities. So I'm curious just how hard and how much is gonna fall, and do I need to do anything that's rain worthy? I think so. I got some trash cans. Probably have strong wind. They're talking about hail, large hail in the prediction. There's some pretty big nasty stuff just nearby. Maybe we'll catch a gap. We've caught a gap with the last couple. Pretty ominous sounding out here. I got to mow a little bit yesterday, so that's good. But yeah, this stuff is right overhead. I need to take shelter. There's the gust front. Gust front's just now hitting the trees. You know, trees blowing in the wind footage is never really super dramatic. I don't even know why I do it. I always look at it later and be like, eh. So last night, I was cleaning a paramotor. It was a soup bowl. We was doing training. A student landed in the mud, kind of slid it in. Got mud all over the harness. I like to take a water hose to it, blast out all the dirt, then an air compressor, then put it in a fan to dry overnight. But I was looking closely at something whenever I was drying out the harness last night. Well, now I notice immediately I didn't get all the mud off of it. Which is fine. The traditional sort of strapping that we have are these buckles right here, and they always seem to sag down an inch or two. If you're ever in a situation where your swing arms are kind of putting pressure in your armpits, your arms, you know, your tattoo area, one way you can counter that is by raising the harness. And I'd seen a new way they were set up from the factory, and it was with these buckles down here. And these straps went all the way down to wrap around this part of the frame. We're gonna switch these buckles out with these buckles right here and see if we can't raise that harness up. Not that this one is an issue, but sitting higher in a paramotor doesn't hurt anything. It's probably a benefit more than a detriment. So I'm gonna switch this one around and just see how it works. Out of my own curiosity, that's what I'm about to do. So as usual, I immediately ran into an issue. These particular buckles right here that go on the lifting straps, the shoulder strap connection to the lower part of the frame. I don't know if you can see it. Focus, screen's no good, but there's a hard crimp on this thing. You can't knock this out without bending metal. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to do something a little bit different here. I'm going to take this strap, which is not long enough to reach around to the lower part of the frame section here where I would like to connect it. So what I'm gonna do is take the harness off of the machine, bring it into the sewing room, and I'm gonna sew some extensions onto these straps, do some good structural threads, make it strong enough to hold my weight basically, because that's what's gonna be pulling on these things. I've already cut some straps, I've measured the length that I want, I've got some webbing in stock here on a roll. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take it off and just go do a little experimentation. I've got a lot to work with. Worst case scenario, it doesn't work out real well. I fail an experiment and I have to cut 2 inches of the strap off, but there's so much strap on there that that's not a detriment to the system. I will not lose anything by doing this. The straps are basically such excess that I have to wrap them around the frame several times to keep them from reaching back into the engine components. Let's do it. I've also got a busted speed bar pulley. At some point I pulled the threads out of this thing. Probably not me pushing the speed bar. Most likely it was from a student doing like an ass landing and the frame pulling away from the harness and pulling out the threads on this. Still connects to the frames. You can still slide it through and connect the speed bar. Not a huge safety thing, but because it's damaged, I'm gonna go ahead and fix that while I'm at it. I'm just a regular, everyday, normal mother. I didn't film all of that. Sewing repair jobs tend to be far worse than sewing manufacturing jobs because you can kind of plan out the stitches ahead of time. But when you're doing a repair, ultimately it ends in like a really tight spot. Like I had to do some flipping and flopping and I could just barely get it under the foot. And of course, if you're doing these repairs all the time, you can buy specialty feet to go on the sewing machine that probably do accommodate certain types of situations. But I just got the regular old foot that come with the machine. That's what I jam. I make it work. I do these things on occasion. See what the pool's looking like. Foggy as rip. That's nice. So let's go put this thing on. See how it works. Oh, of course you go. So that's what we're looking at right there. We got these straps connected at the lower frame portion.
And the red tape that you see here, that's just to hold the excess strap that was hanging out so that it didn't go into the intake or get melted onto the silencer.
I just chose to route them on the inside. It looked like there was a bit more room. They sort of split these spars in half. Versus going outside and coming around, I thought that inside connection would be better. Like I got the harness draped over the top there. So when we flip it down, get all our stuff hanging right, that's going to give us a much higher connection right here on the frame, where previously it was dipped down a couple inches. This is going to raise that seat up so that you can get just a little further away from the bars. I mean, it may be a total fail. I may revert back to the way it was if I don't like it for whatever reason, but I thought it was worth a try. As simple of a hack as it is, we're going to go for it like that. Let me put this thing back together and we'll see how she works. You know, I don't know if it's Falcon Fest or what today, but there's been like 15 falcons circling across the street from my house all day long. I think they're chasing something after some kind of food. Really did attempt to capture a vlog. Apparently that wasn't in the cards for this day. There was some third-party footage James had filmed. And I think I've used some of this footage in a previous video. I don't know. I'm not going to look back and find it, but I'm going to play it here. I don't think I had all of it there. I think I lost it and then found it. It's just a hodgepodge of stuff. The harness actually works great. I'm still flying it regularly. The mod worked just like I thought it would. It was a good move. Well, it's not something that's necessary, but it does give it a tighter, higher feel on your back. And then when you're flying, it brings the bottom of the seat up closer to your haunches. Let's watch this video. This is going to be some really strong, gusty, high winds. And I'm guessing if we're going to take something away from this, it's just how important the taxi position is, with the power, the pressure, and the posture, how it all works together, whether the wind's blowing hard or whether there's no wind at all. This is the position you want to be in. The only difference being how fast your legs are moving along. Let's watch this video. Enjoy it together. Oh, I like that. And that's about the best audio that you're going to get out of this footage. So I'm just going to talk you through it here. Let's play it. So wing rocking right, I correct by applying some left brake pressure and stepping to the right, which is under the center of the wing. Notice I don't come off the power. I maintain the power, pressure in the brakes. Now the wind is shifting everywhere. It's going to be a common theme in all these clips. Hands come up to build speed, and here I am coming in on the approach. Let's see what's going on. Wind socks blasting about 15 miles an hour, switching. There's a little gusty edge of a thermal. I'm getting lifted, getting dumped. Still in control. I want to stay in the wind. If the wind shifts, I want to make an adjustment so that I'm going straight across the ground. That wing's not pulling me off to the side laterally. That's where you get in big trouble in strong winds, is letting that wing rock too far over to the side. Sometimes it's easier just to fly and hang under the wing without actually contacting the ground. I'm ready to contact the ground, and if I do, I'm immediately in kiting mode. Like, I'm just kiting the wing. I'm using the motor, I'm kiting the wing. I'm using the motor to push me as I'm kiting. That's the gist of paramotor flying. Here's a little something from the other side. Again, I'm deep brakes, high power. This is about the same position you would take off or taxi in. I'm just demonstrating for the students proper posture. Look how light I am on my feet. The wing and the motor's doing the work. I'm just steering the thing with my hands. I've got the throttle, I've got the brake toggles, and of course the conditions are for probably expert only. Middle of the day, big cumies bouncing around, low to the ground. I'm getting lifted, dumped, but I'm ready to accommodate for all that. I fly with a high level of skill. I'm a professional. I get paid to do this and to teach people to do this. So that's how I view it, as a job. This is what it looks like at a day of work. The windsock's going crazy. You can see in the corner of the video there. There's another crazy guy going through the sky there. Big crazy looking cloud. Nice hard turn low. No matter how hard you're turning or what you're doing, when you hit the ground, you gotta be straight in the wind. So let's see what happens. I take some turbulence at the edge. I get dumped. You know, I'm applying brake as necessary to keep the glider right over my head. Alright, there's ground contact, still remaining in the power. I never really changed the power setting. In fact, if anything, I get back on it. What am I doing? Just kind of hover flying, dragging my feet a little. But I'm ready to land. I'm sort of looking at the dirt work. I'm examining the project that I had going on. So flying the craft is an afterthought. I'm not staring at the wing. I may look up at it to do a correction, make sure my area is clear, but ultimately I'm looking at where I'm going and I'm feeling of the wing. I know the motor's pushing. I never really want to let off the motor. All right, I want that motor pushing the whole time. And now I'm committing to flight, raise my arms, gain speed. Just because you see me doing something or an advanced pilot doing something does not make it right for a new student. Some of the techniques I'm doing here, turning low, dumping my hands, these things, I know what's going to happen because I've done them so many times. As a new pilot, you've not done them so many times, so it really can be dangerous. See, here I am sidestepping. I'm not in the wind. The wind is changing, so I've got to turn that wing so that I'm going straight. Now I'm going straight. Now, if you're a new pilot, there's no reason that you can't practice these same moves, but I gotta warn you, don't practice it in the same conditions. You could get hurt. These are gusty winds. This is how I practice. Somebody's been doing it for many years. Did y'all catch what just happened there? Gust of wind hits me from my left. Let's break it down in slow motion. Every little move I make, hands, wing, I want to talk you through some of this stuff that happens in the blink of an eye. Let's go from the beginning. Gust of wind hits from my left, right there. I start to immediately drift right. Notice my brake position. Look at my correction. Raise my right hand, maybe 8 inches. Let's look at that again. Yeah, I think about 8 inches. Is that what she said? I taxi on up. I'm just doing these little nuanced moves. Most of it's just raising a hand. If I want to go to the right, I raise my left. If I want to go left, I raise my right. And then look at that, brake check. Look at there, surge hits. But I don't want it to go over me. That's where you'll have a collapse. But more importantly, look how quick I get off of it. One of the most common beginner mistakes is to do the brake check and then hold the pressure for way, way too long so that the glider starts to backslide and possibly stall. Use the brakes when the glider's trying to go past you. Release the brakes as soon as it comes down. And I'm constantly making these adjustments. These are the advanced skills. These are things you can practice kiting. And you just use a motor. I'm just using the motor as I'm doing these things. Look, I'm getting kind of stupid here. I'm just leaning back. There's no real rhyme or reason to it. Just messing around with the machinery, playing with it. I'm playing at the same time. But if there's one thing that is a common theme amongst any of these maneuvers that I've been doing the whole time, is that when I'm on the ground and I'm under power, I'm leaned back. You notice the dirt blowing up behind me. As soon as I get on the thrust, I want that thrust to be pushing me upward. And that makes everything easy. That is the easy button, is to add the power, don't let it change much, and lean back. And after that, it's just hands and feet. And it's all coordinated. That's what you really want to get good at. Find you some nice, good, smooth wind in a big open area and just practice. There's only one way to get better at this stuff, and it's just to practice it. And the more you practice it, the easier it's going to look. And if you're on the power, and you're in the pressure, and you're in the posture, it's going to be golden. Notice how I'm not having to sidestep more than just a few steps as the wing turns straight. Now I'm straight again, power, pressure, just kiting the wing. I'm not ever giving up the wing. Don't ever give up the wing. Motor may die, I may go down, but I'm not going to quit flying the glider. A couple of light moon gravity steps, and I'm off again. Thank you for watching this installment of the Kylo Show. I hope you picked something up out of it. If not, feel free to make an ugly comment, a pleasant comment, thumbs up, thumbs down, subscribe, bell ringer, all the usual YouTube stuff that you're supposed to do. Gives me, I don't know what it does. I just know how these paragliders and paramotors work. I'm a man of simple taste. I like burning gasoline and gunpowder and making videos. So thanks for stopping by. If you stayed this long, clearly you're into it, maybe as much as me. Catch you real soon on the next one. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, Festivus, whatever you celebrate. I hope it's a good one. And I'll see you guys real soon in the next one. Much love. Kyle out.